Hey, what's up, folks? We're joined by comedian Jim Breuer today to talk about what's going on in the world, how we found each other, what he thinks about the upcoming election, and much, much more. God bless you guys. Dream Rare Podcast starts now. It's the Dream Rare Podcast. Welcome to the show. The way to get the news at the desk or on the road. Let's go. God is great and success in our control. The world is crazy, but we get better from obstacles. What's going on, everybody? I'm here today with Jim Breuer. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you.
Yeah, sorry if people tuned in like 5 minutes ago. We had a little technical difficulty, but we're back in action.
That's what happens when you're dealing with someone who's 56.
No, you're good. You said you went to Africa recently. You were off the grid. How's that? Sounds nice.
Yeah, man. So every couple of years, if I can go back to Africa every year, I'm literally, that's my plan. As soon as my last kid graduated, because it's not so much seeing the animals and all that jazz. No one's walking around with a phone. No one's staring at a plasma TV. No one's gathering, talking about, you hear about those liberals and those neo-Nazi conservatives, and I can't believe the QUC1 fly this, and they're right. Like, none of that exist over there, and it's really refreshing to go literally out in the middle of nowhere. We're staying in tents. They're nice tents. It's not like I'm not like pitching the Doug. Oh, it's a good tent spot. If you got showers, it's glamping. And you start talking to people there, and it's just, you forget that's where original humans are, just living off the land, living for today. They're not worried about, I got my 401k, and then we got to work overtime, and then we got to go to this rally to, support the frogs, whatever's going on. It's, so yeah, I just came back from Tanzania. It was pretty amazing.
That's awesome. I don't know the solution to this. Obviously, everyone wants it, but I've even heard from people who've traveled to other countries that there's obviously problems. There is some division, but there's nothing quite like the United States of America media that even a lot of other people listen to. So now when they used to listen to us, they're like, wow, America's awesome. I want to go there. Now our own media hates us to the point where we're putting out bad press to all the countries who listen to us.
There's not, well, that was another surprising thing. Like, I would start talking to those guys, and you think we're so big and so important, everything we're doing, like the whole world is tuned in. I just started talking about, life-changing and podcasts. And they're like, what's a podcast? It's when people are talking and they talk about real stuff. It's not like radio. Okay. And then, I remember bringing up this whole thing about, like, have you heard of these guys, this podcast and like a Rogan podcast? Like, what is that? What's a Rogan? I was like, oh my God, this is wow. And there's part of you, there's something absolutely beautiful about it. And it's also very humbling, because you realize we really are our own little community, and we think we're supposed to, all eyes are supposed to be on it. I think we grew up thinking we're the best and that's it, where we're really just kind of one-sided. You don't really see the other side, so you start splitting this place.
It's definitely nice when people aren't on the cell phone all the time, because you look at old pictures. I did a little reel one time because it was Michael Jordan hitting a shot and no one had their phone, and everyone's like in the moment, like, and then you have LeBron James hitting a shot and everyone's on their cell phone. And it's just, I get it. You want that iconic moment, but there's nothing quite like being there, being in the present, and not just like snapping pictures of everything all the time.
Yeah. And, it was a group of 10 of us. I brought a group of 10 people. They never even left the country. And they're like, we got to be safe. Like, yes, you got to be safe. And the first place we landed was in Ethiopia. And I grew up in the 80s, and I'm thinking, all right, everyone in Ethiopia is starving. They're all walking around bones, and they need food. It was a huge city. We landed, place was spotless clean, moms hold on to their kids. You don't believe me? Wait, seeing siblings like holding hands and looking after each other. I'm like, that does not exist in America. Moms don't even want anything to do with their kids. They're on the phone like, wow, what do you want? More snacks. It was. I encourage everyone, as much as you can, travel outside the country and just absorb the culture, and you really start thinking differently of everything we do here, or how we see things and what we think is going on.
I know. I appreciate your intro to me. That was one of the nicest, the best intros I've ever had. And you kind of mentioned that you found me. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, you're welcome. I meant it. You would keep me alive for a while. Thank God. I love listening to this. This guy makes me feel sane again.
Thank you.
And people need your demeanor. Your demeanor is, to what I say, is part of us all growing. You know, you can think one way or think the other way or whatever you thought, Press. I always felt you have an incredible approach to very serious subjects, and you know how to just go, hey, I'm just kind of in the middle. I'm putting this out there for you. I don't know. This is the way I feel, but who am I? Blah blah blah. And you let people think of it yourself. You still remain very refreshing, entertaining, and very knowledgeable to watch. I really enjoy it.
Thank you. I try, and now that I'm doing podcasting more, I feel like I'm a little looser with it. But for those type of videos, I'm trying to get back to them. It's not about getting people that agree with you to agree, because they already agree. How do you get people that don't already know to hear your side? And I feel like that's definitely lacking in the media or influencer world. It's all just like echo chamber stuff.
Oh, it totally is. And I'm starting to come to terms with, no matter what I sometimes get a little more passionate, or a little more, I put a little more emotion in. I try not to. No matter what I put out there, which I feel is morally right, like morally, when you think about deep down inside, doesn't your gut tell you X, Y, Z? You're still gonna have people just judge the living life out of you. I can't even eat a bag of chips without someone going, clearly you're an extremist, right wing, Trump loving. Oh my.
Well, Trump, to be fair, Trump did eat those same chips one time, so.
Well, then there
yeah.
you go.
So
were they sour cream? I don't know.
Yeah, he's eating sour cream stuff. If you were true against the resistance or with the resistance, I don't know if it's the anti-resistance, they're anti-government, pro-government, pro-farm, anti-farm. I'm not sure what they're doing, but yeah, you can't be eating chips like that, bro.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
I'm just playing. During the pandemic, my question to you was when, because it was kind of crazy. At first, it was January, and it was in China, and America didn't care, but China was putting out these videos people dropping dead, and then it was February, and then March. I think Italy lockdown, then 15 days to slow the spread. Then there was the extension. What part did you think? Okay, this is totally not it.
When did I? In my opinion, this whole thing was the greatest voodoo trick on humanity.
Yeah, what part did it be okay? Yeah.
Every part. And when I say every part, it started with, oh my God, people are dying everywhere. People are dying everywhere. And I remember talking to my children, because my girls, they gave me a very hard time. They were really, they wouldn't hang out. They were talking about killing grandmothers. And I said, can I ask you something? Daddy just finished a 40-city tour. I did meet and greets. I was in 40 different hotels, all different Airbnbs, meet and greet. I had people coming up to me coughing their asses off, wasted sometimes. They're breathing like, "Can you take a picture? I love you, man. I love you." I was like, okay. No, thank you. Will you say hello to my daughter on live video? So this is going on nonstop. Right before that, I toured with Metallica. So you're telling me all the musicians All the nightclubs, all the meet and greets, the plane rides, the cabs, the lifts, the shaking of hands. None of us died. Not one rock star died. They were all on tour. It wasn't like they weren't touching anyone. And then I would tell my kid, I went, how many people you know have cancer in our neighborhood? I said, not including mom. And like, oh, you know, this many. That's right. Okay, let me ask you this. How many people do you know by name that have autism? Said the name. How many people, now don't say what you heard on the news, and don't say you heard about so-and-so's best friends come. I want the name of the person that we lost. And I'm not saying nobody passed away, but no one in our town. I said, when 3 people go down in our street, I will start to panic. Until then, when I saw them trying to get people out of the water on the beach, like surfing,
Right.
you had, and I hope whoever did that is in some type of rehab of how emotionally deranged they were to be standing. Like, even if the chief goes, you got to go, anyone out there surfing has to come in from the water. That's how dangerous thing. It's flying over the seawater. the no one even stopped for a second to think. You know what it really got me too? Remember especially CNN and everyone, they're like, Trump better send help because people are going to be tossed in the river. That's how many coffins, and we're overloaded with death. And so he sent military ships.
Right.
To the East Coast and the West Coast. And these are the tiny details that people were distracted from. The military sent hospital ships. I could see them off the shore of Jersey and California. They left. And they said, why are they leaving? Well, because there's no one on them. No one flinched that the military that was screamed by CNN to bring in, or Trump's, a murderer. They brought him in, waited, because it was going to be overloaded. It never overloaded, never made it to the ships. And our military left's going, I don't have to tell you, but it's really not what you're talking about. And we just kept going like 400 more. And it was also, I saw something too. I started seeing on the internet how many number 33s kept showing up, which was really weird. It was like 11 more cases in New York, and now it's 33. Here in Michigan, 14, and now we're up to 33. It was like 15 different 33s. And somewhere along the line, someone in that world must have been like, 33 means go team, go. Here we go. Send out Fauci. Mask on, mask off. Double vax, one vax. Shut it down. 3 more weeks. 7 more months. Go, go, go. Lock them down. Open it up. Go to a restaurant. Stand up. Wear the mask. Sit down. Take it off. The mindless of humanity really, it was very disheartening for me. I laugh about it now. I have to say it was one of the most horrible, cruelest things besides war that I've witnessed in my lifetime of people going through this, and the variations of them buying into it, and the fear that people, the fear that absolutely controls the entire world. It was a major wake-up call for my spirit.
They had this post that I saw on Twitter, and it said, type any number and coronavirus cases into Google and see what happens. And I did it. And no matter what number you picked, they had articles about it. 33, 55, 647, 454. Like, I was literally just going through every number I could think of, and every single one, it was almost like a mass like algorithmic, like here it is. Pretty crazy. What you were talking about with the cases, I think that your thought process from the beginning was super wise of how many people in our neighborhood have this, how many people in our neighborhood have this. Go ahead.
I always go down to just, if you turn off all the televisions, you got to understand something too. The media, whether you enjoyed, I don't get involved. I never got involved in politics. I don't think most of us ever did. And I'm still not involved in politics. It's professional wrestling. Politics is a nice word for criminals that pretend they care for you and steal our money and keep us enslaved. That's a nice word. That's basically what a politician is. So, I forgot where I was going to go with this.
That was hard. That was a bar though. That was a rap line right there. I love that. That's real. I wanted to say too, with my personal experience, I never saw somebody sick in my personal circle until the winter of 2021. So, 2020 happened, 2021, they rolled out the vaccine, I think that summer. And then that winter, people started getting sick with, I'll just say flu-like symptoms. I'm not saying it was the flu. I don't know if you're allowed to ever.
Well, to be honest with you, if you look at the science and trust the experts, there were no flu cases, according to the scientists and the experts and the World Health Organization. I believe the flu was like a big fat goose egg. However, for the first time in history, there was 1 billion COVID cases. Pretty kind of a miracle.
I want to say real quick, just like they fact checked this a bunch of times, but what you just said, I searched it. Scientific American, this is their headline. The flu has disappeared for more than a year. New York Times headline, the flu vanished during COVID. Harvard, a sharp drop. Like, this is all, and then they still fact check it, where I'm like, Scientific American and the New York Times are two credible, media outlets.
Yes. And, but what they did as a good job, again, I remember with the non-politics, is they painted such a evil mind control that anything Trump would say or allude to, he'd start talking about hydrochloroquine. You would have thought he would have talked about slaying and killing babies. He talked about, what was the other? Someone talked about ivermectin. You would have thought people were talking about going into houses and taking people out and slitting their throats. Like, how dare you? I saw it the whole way through. It was, when you see a mayor of New York eating a cheeseburger, trying to sell you to get a shot so you can have McDonald's French fries, that may have been one of the saddest days in all of humanity.
Right. It's like a comedy and a tragedy at the same time, where I think we laugh about everything we try to, but when it was happening, they're telling you can't eat inside. So then they built this igloo that's a new inside, outside, as if like our forefathers didn't build like construction. We worked hard to get cement, but this plastic igloo is somehow different than the building 10 feet away.
But you still, and it's crazy though, is there's still people, and I'll give a pass to people that have cancer or are sick, and they, my wife was sick at one time with cancer, and she was going through chemo, so she would wear a mask. People look at her like a freak. But it's very hard for me to see someone now with a mask on, and they still do. LA's the worst. I went from Hawaii to LA. I get off in LA. They had like infants, with the mask, and you have a whole family. You have infants, 2-year-olds, 3, and I just look at the parents, and I'm like, oh my guys, people are still wearing a mask. They still think this is gonna prevent something. They still think that's the power of fear. That's how powerful fear is. Fear has made people hate one another. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. So we need the turnaround, and we need it quick.
With politics, you're saying that it's WWE. I think so too. And what I'm noticing, I want to talk about it later if we have time, but Trump versus DeSantis, I don't care who people like and who people vote for. But what I've noticed among quote unquote influencers is just the sheer dishonesty of it. Like, for example, if DeSantis passed a bill and it said something about slavery, they're now saying he's racist if they like
Oh,
Trump. But if Trump did that, they would defend it against Kamala Harris. Where I'm just wondering, I'm like, does anybody actually believe what they say? Or like the same way you remember when they said, hey, it's time to take your masks off now, like CNN, CDC said that, but liberals admitted, I don't want to do it because I don't want to look like a conservative. They think taking a mask off looks like a conservative. It's not even about the science or the experts. It's about the image and like your team. So like, what do you think about that? Just like the sports team, sports ball, WWE, like brainwashing that's going on.
And that's what I said too. It's people have to understand, if you're emotionally attached to a political party, you're selling your humanity short. You're selling your humanity short. Any team you join, you are blindly giving up your morals. And what I mean by that, I would say a bit on stage, I grew up a Mets fan, a baseball Mets fan, right? So if one of my ball players did something filthy dirty, like a horrible slide, it took out someone's career, I will stand there, even though I know it was dirty and I know it was wrong. I'll go, well, no, it was a clean, totally was clean, and he didn't beam the guy in the head on purpose. It was a fastball. It was no reason. Where if it was my kid or my brother or friend, and you're like, this bastard, that was disturbing. What kind of human being are you? And this is the problem that's going on. It's like one politician can say, if you say something and everyone's got you labeled, oh, he's a this, or he's even when we're talking right now, someone's going, Brewers are this, that, this, and that. What we lost is understanding that we all know someone in our life that has just had someone die. We all know someone in our life that is struggling through a disease. We all know someone who may have lost a child. We all have a lot of drama in our family, and we go through a lot. We are forgetting how deeply connected we are with our spirits and our souls and humanity. I say, when I was growing up, you know what they used to call a real therapist? It was called your neighbor or your friends. They've when I say they, the power and the love and greed of money has brought out pure evil to the point where it has dehumanized all of us. And it's a very disturbing place to be right now. However, I love the challenge, because I do believe that if we dig deeper and we start looking to the lighter and lifting each other up, it's our only chance we got. And we just got it. We can't sit there and point fingers and scream at the ones that aren't with us or aren't waking up. We just got to hope they'll be okay along the way. Just like a wounded soldier. All right, this soldier's still wearing a mask. Instead of going, you really think you're going to be sick? You can't take that approach. You're making them feel stupid. So if they feel stupid, like, all right, well, if the mask makes you feel safer, then keep it on. The rest of us are going to think this way. Okay, so if you want to join us, we're all hanging out. We're going to watch a movie together. Whatever you want to. I know Chin is saying, unfortunately, that will never happen. That's a bad outlook, and that's already a bad energy. It can happen, and I do believe we're capable of having. It doesn't mean there's not going to be a lot of bad things in the way, or violence, which I pray to God will never happen. But I do think we have that opportunity right now in the world. I was ready to be we allow leaders, like, who is government really? At the end of the day, what is government? What do? They take our money and they tell you everything. They tell you how to raise your kid. They demean you if their morals, their laws are different than your God-given thoughts and your instinct. And they just take our money. So what do they? Who are they? There's millions, hundreds of millions. When they talk about war, I go to Africa, I go to Croatia, I go all over the world. And you know what I've noticed? Everywhere I go, people get along and they want to get along. As long as they're not judging each other, we all want the same damn thing. So why do we listen to, you want to go to Ukraine? Why? You're telling me if Americans and you took some real Russians and real Ukrainians and we just sat them down like a podcast like this, we wouldn't be hanging out by the end of it? And these animals want to send our families to kill? To kill. The last time they sent us to kill, they turned around and said, whoops, we made a mistake. Huh. No weapons. My bad. At least we got contracts to rebuild Iraq. I mean, that's a good thing. Put some people to work. Sorry for all the knees, hips, and families destroyed. Whoopsie daisy. Can we bring on a new big distraction? It's pretty. I'm hoping the world is starting to open up and realize a lot of these people in control are not our friends, and they've done enough damage on our children and enough damage on our families and enough damage in our spirit. And it's time to show them what we're made of. And end of the lies and end of their control and end of their fear mongering. We have to start making that move. I'm not sure how it is, but it has to start.
I think it starts with self-awareness, self-accountability. Like with your life, your career, it's really up to you. Obviously, there's people who help along the way, but it's that spirit of wanting to do it. And in politics, what I'm realizing now, and it's kind of disheartening, but it's probably for the better, is when I see the left acting crazy for so long, I'm in my tribe. I always try to do a good job, but I'm like, okay, we get it. And then things progress. I'm like, oh, we don't really get it. So as much as we can make fun of the leftist who wears the mask for 4 years, it's like, I do think that that's stupid. But I also think it's crazy that because DeSantis is running against Trump, he's starting to parrot CNN talking points saying, hey, the death rate in Florida was worse than the death rate that Cuomo had. And it's like, well, are you talking about PCR tests? Are you talking about how they cook the data, how they're counting? And now you have people that are conservative that a year ago would have said that Florida is not killing anybody, kind of parroting that narrative, which it's the lack of self-awareness and self-accountability. The left says I'm better than the right. The right says I'm better than the left. The Trump camp says I'm better than the DeSantis camp. The DeSantis camp said I'm better than the Trump camp. And then they act like kindergartners. And I feel like I'm not even that old, but I'm talking to 50-year-olds. I'm like, you're acting like Betty and Susie and Johnny picking his nose at the lunch table. It's crazy.
It is crazy. I don't know. I think the whole system has to change. I never thought I'd say that in my lifetime, where it's like, if you're going to say one nation under God, well, then you got to start acting that way. And I'm not saying you need to be going to church, and I'm not saying you need to pick up a Bible and we got to be religious. I'm just saying, I think we all know what's more. If me and you were hanging out and all of a sudden, maybe we have a couple cocktails and you're like, you know what, man, I'm going to go ding dong ditch some house. Like, well, I don't know if we should do that. It's 3 a.m. This guy's got kids. You might freak him out a little bit, man. Everyone has a moral code and law where we know what's right and we know what's wrong. I don't know what the hell is in control of us all. Banks, lawyers, whatever it is. But I think, like you said, we just start at home and we start building little neighborhoods and we start building little communities that start lifting each other up. The old lady needs help down the street. Is someone willing to go help poor grandma? Just go get her groceries. Go sit and talk with her for a couple hours. Go make her laugh. Play music that she remembers, and maybe you can learn something from her. Your neighbor is a liberal. I got diehard liberals, but what I learned was, and I said this would be a great show if you stuck liberals and conservatives on a boat, or you give them missions, like they got to go and volunteer as some type of thing, and they're not allowed to bring up politics. If they bring up politics, they lose points or whatever. But the point is, once you start talking about real life family things, we want to help each other, and we're connected. Oh, wow, you lost some. Oh, man, I went through that. Oh, wow, I didn't know you were going through. I didn't know you were suffering through that. I didn't know that was going on. I am so sorry. Oh, you're an alcoholic. Dude, what happened? Dude, your brother took himself out. Oh, my God, the heart. Politics don't matter then. Left, right doesn't matter then. None of that matters then. And what TV, entertainment, sports, all this nonsense, it really is just like, it's just to distract you, to keep us from what's truly connected, which is our spirit. Humans are good people, man.
It's better than my show idea. I said, who wants to be a homeless millionaire? You just pick up a crackhead, give him $1 million, and just film it and see how quick he blows it. You know?
I'll invest in that show.
Dude, let me know. I just need 1% now. I don't have the capital to make it happen, but I'll take 5% of that show. Let somebody else do it. I've been thinking that for years.
I would pay to see Trump and Rosie O'Donnell trying to put something together and just in a room for 3 straight days, make it an MTV show. I'd watch that for hours. I wouldn't change the channel.
I know you have to go soon. I guess my last question is, I wanted to know your thoughts on the SAG-AFTRA protests. They've been going on for weeks, months. I don't watch TV that much, so I don't even know what it's preventing, but it seems like it's getting bigger and bigger.
Okay, I'm just be honest with you. 1999, basically in 2000, I left Hollywood. I didn't want anything to do with Hollywood anymore. It was I'll just leave it at that. So I don't watch television. I can't tell you the last new movie I watched, except for the last Planet of the Apes, which I loved. Not the Wahlberg one, who I enjoyed too. I'm talking about the newer Planet of the Apes. That last one, the War of the Planet of the Apes. Oh my God! So, besides that, at the end of the day, I could care less. And I have no clue what it's about. I see all the rumors and I see the conspiracies and the Hollywood, and we don't have to get into it. But I'm sure half the streamers know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't know. I have no clue. It baffles my mind that does anyone still watch The View? Who watches The View? Who pulls up with some pound cake? I'm assuming they watch pound cake and coffee going, I can't wait. They're on in another 20 minutes. This is going to be amazing. Who watches Kimmel? Who watches any of these shows? It's mind-boggling to me. I don't know. I don't get it.
It's bad. I think older women, not all of them, obviously, but like that demographic, they get sucked into The View. And I don't know. I have some friends that are like lower level actors that are in the streets and stuff. And I see some of the bigger actors out. My thought is this, though. They weren't protesting during the mandates, during the lockdowns, they're still forced testing actors all over the place. Like none of that is part of it. So, I mean, I think it's about pay, which obviously matters too. But I can't take a protest seriously if they're not protesting like mask mandates and tests and stuff.
I can't take it seriously either, especially when, there were certain bands out there. This is when I had no clue. I made a video. I canceled some shows that were demanding they show a card and you have to get back. And I said, you know what? Those shows are canceled. I'm not, I made a little video and it went crazy and I became a demon on the news. He sucks since 1998. He's been washed up and he needs publicity. Yeah, I need publicity. Canceling gigs. Oh, okay. So it's like, yeah, I need publicity. Hey, man, could you just get rid of my salary?
Yeah, so desperate for work, you're ending work.
Yeah. I'm going to throw away all my work. Yeah, that's what I need right now. Ricky Gervais, do you remember his live hosting the Oscars?
Absolutely, yeah.
I think that was the beginning of the first round of things that we've known in the Hollywood world, hence why I haven't gone near it. I saw a lot on Saturday Night Live. And if you haven't seen it, I beg you to watch the whole video. And I sat there watching it going, oh my God, he's gonna get whacked. Oh my God, he's gonna get whacked. They're gonna shoot him right in the mid. They're gonna go to commercial, and he's gonna have a bullet hole right in the back of his head. And it made me realize, like, oh my God, he's well protected. He's well protected. I don't know if he's like a fake military guy. We need you to be a comedian, and we need to explain all this. I mean, he just came out and he's like, Epstein's Island, all of you. Good night. Bang. He's throwing names. It was. I think a lot of people now are starting to go, you know what? They saw the riots. They saw who backed the riots. There were bands that forced the card. There were comedians that forced the card and maxing. And we all remember it. I remember actors saying what they had to say. They are actors, and that's all they got in life. And what they don't understand, if you make $1 million, you want $10 million. You want $10 million, you want $50 million. You make it 50 millions, you want the island. You want the island, you want control over half a continent. And that's the power of greed that drives man these animals. And at the end of the day, I don't care about the strike.
I hear you. Yeah, I just was asking your opinion. Anything you want to tell people before you leave? Thanks for joining me. I know you got to run, and I wanted to say, I know you're off the grid, but anything you want people to check out?
Yeah, no, you can go. I'm back on. Just go to JimBreuer.com. I'm gonna do a bunch of dates real soon in October, November, December. Do a tour, and I got the Bruniverse podcast, which we have to have you back on.
Yeah, anytime, man. That was amazing. You crushed it. I could feel the energy. I was like, man, he's cooking right now. So thank you for coming on, for cooking for my audience. Hope you guys enjoyed that. That's been the Dreamer
podcast,
brother. Appreciate you. I'm gonna cut that out. And if you ever say it to anyone else, I'm just kidding. Thank you. I appreciate you.
Later, guys.